Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Geoffrey Kossami, based in PNG. Today we have this, I think it's one of a chilling topic, I would say. It's a subject or a topic that has attracted attention for some of the countries. And today we have this opportunity to present the container pass. Okay, somebody is raising his hand. Okay. Okay, let me just start. Can somebody confirm that they can see my screen? Rajesh or?
Yes, Geoffrey, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much, Rajesh. Okay, so Container Pass is it's a new module which we have in ASYCUDA. It's a module that basically allows us to facilitate the container movement from the wharf to our approved places. In some countries, we call them depots. So let me just go into it first so that you can exactly see what we're going to have today. Okay, next. Okay, so today we are expecting four topics. Four areas that we're going to touch. We're going to touch on the current container movement that we have today in place in our countries. We'll touch a bit on the automation of the container movement. We will also see how this solution works in ASYCUDA. And we'll also hear the country experience of Papua New Guinea, where I managed to work with the team in PNG. Okay, so what exactly is a container movement and why? Today, we have our clearance procedures in place, and the clearance procedures are very demanding. The most critical part is some of our ports are small to handle the volume of the containers, and the number of staff that we have in place is quite small to handle the large number of cargo which comes through the containers. So what do we do in this case? Because the problem is most of the cargoes that are coming with containers, and most of them are billed through the bill of ladings. Now the question is, how do we solve the lengthy clearance procedures that we have in place? Because our containers are lying at the wharf, and we want to see how we can facilitate the clearance quickly. Okay, but because of these challenges, we have the challenges of space and lengthy clearance procedures that we have. Now, the containers which are under the bills of lading accumulate port charges because due to the clearance delays. Okay, so it is the current clearance procedure in place, but it's still slow. So what do we do to alleviate the situation? In most of our countries, we see the freight forwarders coming forward to request if customs can facilitate the movement of the containers to the depots or the approved places, meaning instead of waiting for the clearance process to be finalized while the goods are at the containers at the port, they can move the request is to move the containers to their approved places that are approved by customs. and allow them to finalize the clearance process at the approved places. Okay. So what happens in this case? We have customs develop a manually driven application process where the freight forwarders, they need to apply to customs to get a permission or an approval to move those containers from the wharf to the approved places. Okay, so in most places that I visited, well, not many, but few of them in the Pacific, I see this process is still manual driven. The applicant still has to fill the form, and it goes to customs. Then customs have to approve, and it takes a good number of days to complete. So I just run you quickly through what's actually happening, what was actually happening in PNG while we were trying to develop the solution. So I just run you through this process here. So what basically we had initially, it was a manual-driven process, which I believe most of us have this in place. We have freight forwarders who normally apply, the customs which actually receive the application to move to, to allow the movement of the containers to the depots or approved places. Then we have the shipper. The biosecurity is one of the, was actually, and it still is one of the agencies that are on the supply chain to allow the container to move out of the port. And of course, ultimately, it's the port authority or the port operator. So normally what happens here is the freight forwarder applies or writes a letter or fills a form that is sent to customs. So what happens, customs has its own internal procedure or process to proceed with the approval process to allow the container to move from customs, from the wharf to the approved place. Okay. Now, if this happens, it means the freight forwarder has to be patient while the process at customs is completed. And I wouldn't know how it works in other countries, but ideally, what we propose here is for customs to seal, put a customs seal before they can allow the cargo out of the wharf to the approved places. So once the container has been approved to move, it means the freight forwarder collects the approved document, and they have to use that document. They come to the shipping industry so that they can get a deliver order to move that container out of the wharf, and they can proceed to the next step after getting the delivery order, which, for example, in PNG, we have the biosecurity who have interest in verifying the cargo moving out of the wharf. They have to finalize the procedure as well. And finally, they have to come to the port authority or the port operator who charges the freight forwarder, the port charges and the wharfage. And once that is paid, it means they get a gate pass, and the freight forwarder can arrange for a truck and get the cargo out of the wharf. So they come at the final gate, as a final gate procedure, somebody has to be there. It could be customs waiting there and just to verify that the container is moving out. And then finally getting out of the gate. Okay, so if you look at all these areas that you see with those documents, this is where we have the manual document moving across the process or the supply chain. It's quite a lengthy process and time consuming, and it's too much for the freight forwarder, and not only for the freight forwarder, but also for the trade as a whole. So what does this process have as in challenges? And this is from what we discussed with the freight forwarder. when we were trying to develop this solution with them. First, they mentioned that it's very time consuming, and the approval process of getting the approval from customs was a bit lengthy. Sometimes it will take 4 up to 7 days or 5 days. It depends on the volume of work for the customs officer, because remember, the customs officer has to focus with the clearance process that generates revenue. For you who just want to move out the container out of the wharf, you'll be somebody who has to wait because the priority is to finalize the clearance procedures, which is not going the normal clearance process. But for you, waiting is going to be lengthy to get the approval. So it's very lengthy for them to get the approval. The costs of following up is very high for the freight forwarders. It means they have to come every now and then to customs just to make sure that they get this approval as quickly as possible. The other thing is the port charges are accumulating and they become extraordinarily high, because in the end, the port is where the freight forwarder will meet, and they have to bear all the weight and the lengthy time that they had to be patient. And the number of days accumulated is quite high. So it could take, it might force them to pay a lot of money, port charges while they get the containers out of the port. And again, it's inconvenience. And this inconvenience is not only unbearable by the freight forwarder, it's also for the importer himself. Yeah. So it's quite painful for them to bear this. So what happened now was we spoke to the team in customs, asking them how we can do this in ASYCUDA. Okay. So what was the approach? Was first, we had to respect the current process because it's a process that is running, but what we realized, it needs improvement. Okay. So whatever we have in place, for example, in our countries in the Pacific, is a process which is running, but how do we improve it? This is the question. Okay. So what we decided was, instead of doing it manually today, the manual application, let us use ASYCUDA. Okay. So the approval process, instead of it being manually based, it should be system-based. Okay. The other thing we also realized that most of the stakeholders on the supply chain, when we get the containers out of the wharf to the approved places or the depot, they are working in silos, meaning it makes the freight forwarder making so many runs, and everyone on the supply chain, for example, customs has its own process. If you go to biosecurity, they have their own process of verification. You go to the shipper, before they give the delivery order, they have their own process. And finally, the port operator. Now, to alleviate that problem, we mentioned that let's establish a notification on the supply chain and see how it can collaborate these stakeholders. And also, the other benefit that we saw coming by having ASYCUDA word in place is that we will establish the data of the container movement. So meaning customs will benefit in terms of monitoring how, when, and who, and what time they arrive at the depot, meaning they have more control in terms of information on the cargo moving from the wharf to the depots. Okay. So how does it work when we put ASYCUDA in place? Okay. So it's the same process that you saw initially, but this time what we did was something quite different. Instead of the freight forwarder to submit an application for an approval to customs, we allow them to input the application into ASYCUDA, and it goes to customs because customs is running ASYCUDA. They see the application through the system. So whenever the freight forwarder submits the application, it sends an email to customs. So it's a system-generated email informing the customs cargo section that this bill with containers is requesting movement from the wharf to the depot. Okay. So as soon as the officer gets this email, it means they go into ASYCUDA. They don't need actually to see even the applicant or the freight forwarder. They continue with the approval process. They obviously have to involve the freight forwarder to seal the container. And as soon as they approve the application, an email is sent to the shipper, the biosecurity, and the port authority. The email has the attachment or the attached approval, which was approved by customs. Okay, so this is an electronic copy. It's a no reply email. It's not a copy that initially the freight forwarder used to carry along the supply chain to get his goods moved. I mean, the container moved out of the wharf. So what we did with the stakeholders was that we informed them, or we just encouraged them to do one thing. As soon as you get the approval from customs, okay, please start the preparation of getting the process ready. As soon as the freight forwarder comes from your, as soon as the freight forwarder receives the approval, they should come to your office and you should be ready. You don't have to wait for the freight forwarder to come. Then you start the process, just to avoid the queues and the time that they use to come to your office and wait for your process to be completed before they go to the next stakeholder, which is the biosecurity or the port authority. So all of them, shipper, biosecurity, once they receive the email notification, they start preparing the arrival of the freight forwarder as soon as possible. Okay. So this process was working quite well, and I think this can be later mentioned by our colleague from PNG Customs. But what we realized was the freight forwarder told us the process was very fast compared to what it was done before. So in this case, as soon as every stakeholder on the supply chain is informed, the freight forwarder will move very quickly from the shipper, biosecurity, who is already pre-informed, and the port authority, they have already started the preparation of doing their builds. And as soon as they see the freight forwarder, they just issue the gate pass. So as soon as they get the gate pass, the freight forwarder prepares the truck and they exit. Okay. Now, there's one important thing here I just want to explain is everything was very quick in terms of submission. The approval was very quick. That was very notable. And the notification was very quick and actionable. So everything was actually very quick after we implemented ASYCUDA and notifying all the supply chain and all the stakeholders, knowing in advance what's coming. Now, once the freight forwarder moves the cargo from the gate, because of the volume of work of our cargo team with customs, we had to allow them to, we allow the freight forwarder to proceed with exiting from the gate to the to the approved places, because ideally we would love to see customs exporting this cargo to the approved place or the depot. But we allow them because of the shortage. Sometimes we have shortage of staff. So in order to allow trade facilitation quickly, we allow them to go. But what happens here is, as soon as the freight forwarder arrives at the depot, they have to stamp arrival. They have to to log into ASYCUDA and stamp the arrival of the goods at the depot, okay, or the approved place. Okay. So with this, it means the officer, because of the volume of work, later, maybe on the day, they can go and verify and check whether the seal is intact and acknowledge the arrival of the cargo at the depot or approved place, okay? And that time is also stamped, or that information is also stamped in ASYCUDA World. Okay, so all this information is captured, okay? So this allows us to record the time of arrival and verification of the seal, whether it's been intact, or if there's any tamper, it means the officer can verify later as soon as they go to the depot. So everything is captured in terms of time and the movement, and we see how it's moved from the wharf to the depot. So let me just quickly show you how it happens in ASYCUDA and how exactly what I explained and how you can see it work in the system. Okay. So I will just go to my screen quickly. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Okay. Go to my screen. Give me a second. Okay. We just start my ASYCUDA. All right. Desktop. I'll just start ASYCUDA World so that you can see how this works. Okay. So what happens here now is I will log in as a freight forwarder. Actually, I've given myself all the power, so I'll just walk you through and see how it works, how it be for a freight forwarder, and how it works when the customs officer approves the permission. Okay. Now, I'll just open the module. With customs in PNG, we called it simple movement permission, okay? It could be named differently in your country, but in our case, this is what we call SMP here. So the application forms looks like this, okay? Before I jump into this, remember every bill has, every container is attached to a bill, okay? So what you have to make sure is, as a freight forwarder, this is what you have to tell them, that make sure that the manifest has been registered. As soon as it is registered, it means the bills can be applied for the application of the movement of this cargo. So the application of the permission will be done as soon as the manifest is registered. So in this case, for example, in some countries, the manifest is registered before even the arrival of the vessel. It means you can start applying for this approval as early as possible as a freight forwarder, okay? As soon as the vessel docks, it means you can start the exit of the container. Now, let me just walk you through how the application process works. First, as soon as you know the manifest is registered, you have the bill information, This is where you capture the information of the bill. The next section is the transfer details, telling customs you want to transfer the container from the wharf to your approved place or depot. So I'll take an example of what we have in PNG. This is my test environment. I'll just walk you through how it works. So I'll select the port, okay? You also have to select, this is what we added in PNG. We added the custom section that is involved or in the clearance or the approval of this permit. We also took the port section and the voyage number. This is what, as it has been registered with the bill. So I'll take a vessel ID. So now here you have to take the bill reference number. This is just for tests, just a simple one I just did. Let me just, okay. You have to put the arrival date. I think I put 7th, if I'm not mistaken. No. Okay, I'll try another one. I think I have. Okay. Okay, so in this case, I'll take SMB1. There's one package on that, and the 1,000 as the weight. The location should be location of the wharf area, okay? And this is a full cargo, an FCL. So now you have to select the container that is attached to the bill, okay? Now there's one thing here. The container that appears is the one is attached to this bill, okay? Now, because of control purposes, we only allowed 2 containers per permit because normally we wouldn't see more than 2 containers on a truck. So if it has a second container, it means a second container number will also have to be added on the second field. Yeah. So the truck number, you have to put the truck registration number here. Okay, you just put it there. Okay, and you have to select the destination of, meaning the approved depot places. So meaning you're moving from the wharf to the destination depot or approved place. Okay. So next is the driver name. I'll just put any name, Dixon name. Since we don't have a second container, there is no trailer number. Cargo details would say maybe there's a containerized Toyota Prado, for example. Toyota Prado, okay. Yeah, and the company, which is, I think it's EFM, let me see. Yeah, PNG, okay. So I'll just say, so I'll just verify the document, okay. And verify. So once I click this button, okay, the document, which is the electronic copy, is sent electronically to the customs section. And a copy is also received by the freight forwarder, okay? I'll just show you how it works in terms of the email that has been sent out to those stakeholders. I'll just show you quickly. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so these are just one of the few notifications that already have in place. These are actually submitted today, but because my environment is not connected to the live environment, because it's now operational, I'll just show you an example of what type of email that goes out to the customs office. Okay, I'll just select one here quickly. If we have any old one, just for you to see. Okay, so normally what goes out now is a creation. So once the freight forwarder creates this email saying creation single movement permission with P7 with a bill reference number, which is SG blah, blah, blah there, we have this email going to the cargo section of customs, and a copy is sent to the freight forwarder, okay, just for him to have as a copy, okay? So what we just say here is, please, sir, madam, please be informed that the SMP, the permit number request on this date has been created by the depot operator. Please, so the cargo section is requested to assist on approving the aforementioned request. That's it, okay? So once the cargo section receives this email, they will log into the ASYCUDA. They'll come and search for according to the details shown in the email, okay? So what they'll do, they'll just, based on the email that they received, SMP7, they'll come and I'll just go check what we just created recently. I think it was, let me just check. One second. It was this one here. It was this one here. Yeah. Okay, so as an officer, there are two things in hand. Sometimes you might have something to modify once you receive the application. So we give the officer the option to modify. But if there's nothing to modify, you just go straight as an officer on the SMP approval. So this was the application that they submitted earlier. And what they do is only to seal the cargo and approve the application. That's it. Okay. So once you seal the cargo, it means you just put the seal number. For example, it could be C any number. Okay. As soon as you seal it, you just verify if the other fields are okay. Once you're okay with the application, it means you approve the application. So as soon as you approve this application, it means the email goes out. If you can remember, it goes out to the other stakeholders in the supply chain. So once I click approve, the email or notification is sent from ASYCUDA, meaning from customs, to the other stakeholders in the supply chain, meaning on our case in customs, we had the shipper, we had the biosecurity, and the port operator himself. So what happens is, as soon as the email is sent, it means the email showing SMP, for example, P7 with the bill number, this is the bill number, okay? They come and click, and you can see the people who are copied in this email. First is the port. Secondly is the biosecurity and the shipper, okay? The port operator, shipper, and biosecurity. So what they receive is the approval which has been approved by customs. I'll just show you the example of how it looks like. So this is according to what has been approved by customs and received by the stakeholders I just showed you earlier: Port Authority, shipper, and biosecurity. Okay. So they get this information and they know that they have to start preparing and waiting the arrival of the freight forwarder and facilitate as quickly as possible. Okay. So as soon this is done, what happens is they get the cargo from the wharf. Okay. If you can remember, the last party on the supply chain is the port operator. Shipper will do it quickly. They already have the information, the approval copy. Biosecurity, once it's done, it means they allow the port operator to do the billing. The freight forwarder pays, and they start moving the cargo as quickly as possible from the wharf. Okay. Now, the next stage on this thing is, if you can remember correctly, is as soon as the freight forwarder arrives at the port, I mean at the depot or the approved place, they have to stamp the arrival. Okay. Meaning, as soon as they get there, they need to know, customs need to know how long for them it took. Okay. Now, before I get to, to click this, I'll just show you on something on the document, which we saw earlier. On the approval, what we did was, once we allow the freight forwarder to move with the container, we give them at least 2 hours. Okay. So we stamp the approval, and we give them 2 hours to reach the depot. Okay. So it's a time that we monitor in ASYCUDA. So as soon as they go beyond that, it means we have that information. It's also stamped in ASYCUDA. Okay. So we will allow them to stamp now. Okay. So as soon as they click stamp arrival, it means the time here will be registered. Okay. As soon as it is registered, you just have to check here and stamp the arrival, and the cargo is already there in place and stamped as arrived cargo. Now, once the cargo officers with customs are free to go verify the arrival, they have to go to the premises, that is the approved place, or the depot. They have to go there and verify the arrival. As soon as they get there and verify that everything is intact, they have to go into ASYCUDA. Preferably, they have to do it at the depot. Okay. That's where actually they verify the information. But if the depot doesn't have a computer, it means they have to come back and do it in the office. Okay. Once they arrive, once they log in into ASYCUDA, they just have to click that the seal was intact, the custom seal was intact. Okay. And they can mention like cargo, something like cargo arrived in good shape. That's it. In good shape. Yeah. Okay. So once this is verified, they certify that everything was okay, and that's it. Okay. So this actually ends the process up to this stage. Okay. So as soon as this thing has been verified and arrived, then it's a completed process. Okay. And the information here on the details so that it's a closed case. So here it means what the depot operator or the freight forwarder will do is to allow the broker to proceed with the declaration of the cargo as soon as they arrive there at the depot. So the quick benefits that we just experienced based on the information we got from the freight forwarders. they told us that there was a lot of improvement, okay? And actually the improvement was not only for them, but also for every stakeholder on the supply chain, because it allowed us to do a lot of the tracing, and records were put in place in ASYCUDA. Information is generated, allowing the cargo section, even Intel, to monitor the compliance of the traders when they do the movements from the wharf to the depot. You can check the timings. If there's any delay, you can do even follow-up sometimes. You can trace or track or even do an escort to verify the timings that are registered in ASYCUDA if they are truly true. There's improved clearance procedures. This is what the freight forwarders told us when we met them after the piloting. Of course, there was a lot of cost savings in terms of port charges and the cost savings for the traders as well. Communication was improved among the stakeholders because of the notification, okay, that we had put in place, from which are generated from ASYCUDA when the approvals are finalized. And of course, it improves visibility for all the stakeholders on the supply chain, not only customs, even the freight forwarder can see the movement, how much time it's taking for the customs to do the approvals. And of course, even the port have interest in checking some of this information. They can check whether for example, they receive the email of the approved document. They can also check in ASYCUDA just in case they want to verify what they received was correct or not. So for this kind of arrangement to work, you have to install this module called ASYCTN, which is the Container Pass module. In PNG, we call it now it's renamed to SMP, which is the Single Movement Permission module. Okay. First, you must install it. See what the module can offer to you as a country. As soon as you see what the module can offer, then what do you want it to do? This is what the other thing you have to find out now. In PNG, we added few more features, including what I just showed you, notifications and emailing, to allow it to be much faster. But one thing which is very, very, very important is collaborating with the stakeholders, because stakeholders normally have interest, and you have to show them that this is what you're trying to implement, because sometimes they might show interest in terms of how they can participate. And as soon as you get them on board right from the beginning, it means the implementation will be very, very smooth. Okay, and this is what we did from scratch. We started with the shippers, we involved them, the freight forwarders, the port operator, all of them were involved from the start. Okay, so once we establish the requirements, that's what we put into the module. Okay. So I remember when we were sending out these notifications, they added that, okay, can we add some more information on the incoming email? Okay, I'll just show you here what I mean. If you look at the inbox here, this is the importance of involving the stakeholders. Huh? The initial emails were going like SMP7, okay? But for the shipper or the port operator, they wanted the bill reference number. So we had to add it on the header of the email. So as soon as they get the email, it's quick for them to do the action, I mean, and perform their duties, okay? So these are the things and the importance of involving the stakeholders. The other thing that we also did was we had to establish email relaying between ASYCUDA World to the exchange service in customs. So this is actually the ICT people to help ASYCUDA to send those approvals that are done by the customs officers or cargo section, and how those messages should be going from customs to the clients or the stakeholders that I just mentioned. Of course, after all this setup, you have to train the users and the stakeholders. As I said earlier, once you involve them from the beginning, you also have to get them involved during the training so that they know how it will be practically on the supply chain. And after the training, we did the pilot for 1 week. And after 1 week, we got super results, which my colleague from customs can mention about that. I'll just let him do that information. I mean, he can tell us what actually happened from the information we got from the stakeholders. Okay. Okay, so I'll just let my colleague from customs. I'll just stop the share here. If PNG Customs, if you can be available, can you step in? Is it Clement who's going to do this? I think. Clement, can you? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to present something, or do you want to just make mention on? Let me see if you can allow. Okay. Allow camera. Okay. Yeah, Clement, are you there? Clement? Yeah, please. Go ahead, Clement. We cannot hear you. Is your mic on?
We cannot hear you. We cannot see you.
Okay. Let me unmute him. I don't know. Oops. Allow mic. We can see you, Clement. Is your mic allowed to speak?
Mic is open.
Is it on or off?
Mic is open.
Yeah, the mic is open.
Oh, I just heard him. Yeah, very faint. Sound is very low.
Clement?
Hello.
Yeah. We can hear you now. Please, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I had to remove the earbud.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Before I start, thank you, Mr. Kossami, for the presentation and allowing our team, PNG Customs, to share our experience. Well, it all started back in, I think, 2021, around September, where we introduced, with the help of UNCTAD. So we started off, well, most of the things have already been mentioned by Mr. Kossami. The main challenge that we had was getting our clients or counterparts, our stakeholders, getting them on board. Well, most don't like changes. We have to actually sell the product and get them to take part to participate in. So we went through, well, we had our carriers, terminal operators, and of course our biosecurity. We had it rolled out to, currently it's on our 3 major ports, which is Port Moresby, Lae, and our international air cargo. So currently they all are using SMP, or single movement permission. You can see we're only using it on bills, not on declarations yet. Like I mentioned, well, most clients have came back, they actually complimented. Well, we have now, well, there's accountability, and of course, it avoids or reduces the bulky documentation moving around from one party to another. And of course, it reduces time and it's cuts out the longer period of the processing time. So, well, with that, well, we're looking, I mean, if we need more improvement, of course, we'll always come back to UNCTAD for your expertise and advice. But otherwise, yep, it's working fine at the moment here. Well, only if we have downtime in power or on power outage or connectivity, that's when we go back to resort to manual. But otherwise, it's all good from here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Clement, for you sharing to our colleagues in the Pacific how exactly you did it. We did it in PNG. So one thing, just to add what Clement mentioned, it's good if to allow the process to take in place, but we need to trust the process and also verify. Okay, we need to verify because the ASYCUDA is already generating information to us, but we need to see if we can verify, because as soon as the information is generated, we can know actually the movement of the cargo and the timings. So yes, the process is there. We trust the freight forwarders, but we need to verify sometimes. So the system is giving us all that information in place. Okay. The other thing is sometimes you can see the approvals are very fast, because one of the things that they told us, the freight forwarders, that the process that would take 7 days, it could be cut down to few hours or maybe a day, sometimes even less than an hour. Okay. So these are the things that we also saw as the quick benefits of this 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 thing that we introduced with our colleagues in customs and the cargo section. Otherwise, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to hear from you. Let me just minimize. Okay. Yeah, so thank you for you listening, and if you have anything to ask, please let me know. Let us know. If you have any comments, any questions, views, please. The floor is yours to tell us what what feelings you have about this solution in terms of facilitating the cargo movement from the wharf to the depot or the approved places. Thank you very much. Please feel free to ask anything. Let me see if there's any raised hand. So far, none. Do you have any questions? Any comments? Let me see if there's anything in the chat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just feel free to ask anything if you have in mind, especially our cargo section in customs. Feel free to ask, please. Or even if there's any comments, if you see this solution can be helpful for you in in your respective customs administrations?
Geoffrey, there are some questions in the Q&A.
Oh, there is? Let me just...
Yes. Not the chat, Q&A.
Oh, okay. Let me just go over there. Okay, Q&A. Is it in WanTok? Let me see. Oh, Q&A, okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, let me just read it one by one. That was just attached to the email notification. Okay. Yeah, the first question was asked here by Stanley. He asked whether the approval or the pass was attached to the notification. Yes, it was attached. Yes, the pass was attached to the email. Yes, to the email. Okay. Next one, is it possible if you can share your presentation? That's from Sonal. Sonal, yes, we can do that. We can share the presentation. That's no problem. Me from Cook Island. Hi, Geoffrey. Just double checking. Do you receive notification from AW to your external email? Is this similar to the exit note module? Okay. First question is, the response is yes. AW comes to any external email, not only our internal organization emails. No, it goes to any private email. So the only thing you have to do, as I said earlier, is make sure that ASYCUDA the messages and the emails can be relayed to external clients. That's the only setup which the IT can do. Okay, the IT people can do, and they can assist to do that. Yeah. And the other question was whether this is similar to the exit note. No, because the exit note is an exit of a completed clearance procedure, meaning the normal clearance procedures that you have in place today. Once that is completed, that's when you apply the exit note on the the finalized clearance process through the declaration normal procedure. Then comes the exit and the release of the cargo from the wharf. But with this case, just to be clear, is once the manifest has been registered, the cargo is still in the bill state. It means it allows the freight forwarder to move that cargo in container to the port, to the approved place, or the depot for the case of PNG. So from the depot or the approved place, that's where they can proceed with the declaration process. Okay. So this is how what's the difference between the two? It's the exit note it's a normal clearance procedure through the declaration, but this one is still in the build state. So this the two differences between these things. Okay, good day. This is from Danush. Okay. Okay, good day. Please share with us topics that you would like to. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's information or request from Danushki requesting if we have any topics that you would want us to do further awareness or training, please. Just let us know through our ASMP office. In Suva. Okay, we have a hand from Tevita. Please go ahead. Tevita Rwandi, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
This is nothing to do with the the stuff that you just explained.
Presented, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is some feedbacks because it seems like when you were presenting there, when you're trying to showcase the demo, I there's no we can see two screen. We don't have a better visualization of the whole demo that you did. So I was trying to.
Was it
connect
only
both.
yourself or the other colleagues as well?
I'm not too sure about the others, but from my end, it was not that good.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Maybe what I'll do, I'll share first the presentation, and if you want maybe additional information, we can also let you know how it works. Huh?
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime you can just reach out to us. Huh? There is a hand from Mariah. Yes. Oh, let me just allow the mic. Yes, please. Is it Mariah? Please go ahead. Mariah, are you there? Mariah, we cannot hear you. Okay,
Geoffrey, while we're waiting for Mariah, there's another question from SM in the Q&A.
Okay, let me have a look. Oops. All right. Okay, let me have a look. New posts. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, FSM, you were mentioning the freight forwarders. Yeah, do you have direct consignment? Via containers to importers? If so, can they also apply for the container pass? Okay. The question here is whether a normal importer can do this application other than the freight forwarder. I don't know how it works in your end, that's FSM, but from what I know is most customs administration in place, they have this option of movement of the cargo from the wharf to the depot or approved places done by the freight forwarder. If you have an option for the importer to do that in FSM, then you would want us maybe to assist you how you can do that, if that is the case for in your end in FSM. Yeah. Let me see just more. Okay, do importers apply the pass for perishable imports? The second question is asking here is whether the importers can apply the pass for imperishable imports. I think with perishable imports, I would suggest if you can just do a blue lane declaration, it's much easier for you. I mean, because it's the process is very clear and easy for perishable goods. If you ask even actually customs to facilitate it through the blue lane, other than to use the container pass, I mean, it's much easier for you to do that. This is what I would suggest. Yeah. But if you want it to be part of the container pass, this is something that I think customs, they need to discuss if this can be allowed for the perishable goods. Yeah. Do you have any more questions? Okay, I think there is no more question. Let me just check. Okay. Yeah. Mariah, were you able to? Mariah, do you want to speak again? if you were there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it seems we do not have any more questions, so please feel free to reach to us in case you have any interests. There's a new post. Let me check. This is Jenny. Is it appropriate for AEO to use SMP to facilitate their cargo? Okay, there's a question here from Jenny Harry. She's also here in PNG Customs. If we can use it for the authorized economic operators, if you would ask me, I would say yes, because you can actually start testing this with the AEOs, because actually when you start this, normally we tend to see if the compliance level is okay. But with the economic operator, the authorized economic operators, we trust them, but we can start piloting this container pass with them as well. It's a good idea. It's a good thing to have, especially for countries who want to see whether this container pass can be useful to them. They can start with the AEOs. It's a very good observation from Jenny Harry. Yeah. So that's one of the benefits of this. You can ideally would want us to have it for everybody to enjoy the benefit of this simplified process. But if you want to start with the authorized economic operators, that's also a good way to start, just to see if it works well with the movement of these containers from the wharf. Yeah. Okay, so it seems we do not have any more questions. I think we've gone past 11 minutes, our dedicated 1 hour time. If we have any more, yes. Yeah, if you have any more questions or anything related to this container pass, which is using ASYCUDA, feel free to reach to us, and we will get back to you and let you know how this can be implemented in your customs administrations, and we'll assist you through during the implementation as soon as you have interest in this solution. Otherwise, thank you very much for attending this. Thank you very much. We expect you to come back to us if you have any interest in this solution. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stanley.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Clement. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I'll just end the event. Okay, let me just Thank you. Thank you, Sele. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.